This is a huge opportunity that Tottenham simply have to take advantage of. Results have gone our way so far this weekend. West Ham losing away at Liverpool. Spurs have an opportunity to open up a 7-point gap on them with a win away at Fulham tomorrow. Currently, as things stand as well, Manchester City are beating Leeds. There is an opportunity to go above Leeds in the Premier League table if Spurs were to get that win. Now, it is easier said than done. Fulham have been a bogey team for us over the course of the last few years. Defeats in our last, 3 out of our last 4 games, 2 out of our last 2 games away at Craven Cottage. Last year, you'll remember we were actually in the game for a decent period of time, playing some decent stuff, having chances. I remember Tella having a shot saved. I think Solanke hit one over the bar. Romero got substituted off, and the game kind of fell apart from there. And then the year before, in that sort of period where results weren't really picking up under Rams, we got battered 3-0 away there. Now, we're going to talk about how we might set up, the changes that I would like to see made to the team in that one. But before we do that, please make sure to subscribe to the Ben Bowman THFC channel. Nearly 20,000 of you here now, and it will mean so much to me if we could get there in the next few weeks. By the end of March, that will be absolutely amazing. If you've missed it as well, I've launched channel memberships on the channel too. Exclusive content for you guys if you would like to join. The price is £5.99 per month. The link is in the description. All of the details are on a community post, but Darren and Doon is coming back. There'll be an exclusive preview podcast before every game with the rival fan, live phone-ins, members-only Discord or WhatsApp server that I need help setting up with. So anybody that is able to do that, that'd be massively appreciated. But there's a load of benefits for you there as well. Absolutely no pressure to do so, but if you would like that extra content, then please do sign up. Also, daily live streams are coming back from the start of March. They won't be tomorrow because I'll be at the game, but from the 2nd of March on the Monday, we'll be going live every single day. A few of those will be member only, so if you want to join in, be really part of the community, please do that if you wish. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, results have gone for us this weekend, and this is the situation. As things stand, Leeds currently losing at home. It's a double game week as well, so that's something to bear in mind. A win against Crystal Palace on Thursday would be absolutely huge. Now, this team have got to bounce back from that Arsenal game. They've had a week off in between that. Lots of training done on the pitch. I saw Igor Tudor getting them doing a bleep test, which is slightly concerning in the sense that are these players fit? Are they fit enough for this kind of battle? They're not necessarily showing the same fight in the performances that we've seen from even Burnley today, coming back from 3-0 down, nearly winning the game, losing the game in the end, but a dodgy handball decision kind of stopped them from doing that, in my opinion. West Ham, that 5-2 defeat at Liverpool today was... I think the word fugazi has kind of been used a little bit with Liverpool so far this season in some of the results. Would I go that far? I'm not sure, but I didn't think Liverpool were great today. And West Ham certainly gave as good as they got, generated more XG in the game, played well in the game, had chances, had more possession as well. Nottingham Forest over the last couple of games as well. I know they lost in the week, but they massively rotated their side. Obviously, they haven't played yet this weekend. They're at home to Brighton tomorrow. They're looking at that as an opportunity to pick up points, and I think they probably will, if I'm being honest. So Spurs have got to pull themselves together in this game against Fulham. If the Leeds result stays as it is currently, West Ham have already lost. Spurs can go 7 points clear and above Leeds in the Premier League. And then all of a sudden, things just calm down a little bit. That confidence that gets breathed into you. Obviously, things with it being a double game week can change very quickly. But I think West Ham have got Fulham in the next one away from home, which, as we might find out tomorrow, is not an easy place to go at all. But this is massive for Spurs, and the attitude has got to be different. The approach has got to be different, and I think there should be some changes that are made to this team. Now, if we look at this Fulham side, they've got threats all throughout this front line. Emil Smith-Rowe has kind of picked up a little bit recently in terms of his form. Kevin, I think, is kind of coming into his own as well, and you worry about him as a threat down that left-hand side. Harry Wilson, we know the form that he's in, and, he kind of likes to come into these areas. It can be a bit of a fluid kind of front three for Fulham behind Jimenez, who is also still kind of doing it at this level. It's a solid... Iwobi's probably their best player at the moment. He's been playing really, really well. Sessegnon likes to bomb up down that left-hand side with Kevin cutting in, and they kind of almost then go to this sort of back three in possession with Bassi kind of tucking in at left-sided centre-back, moving over there. They're a good team. And if we look at, obviously, their recent run of results, they've lost against Manchester United away from home, but they played well. Fulham against home to Everton, they should have won that game. They lost 3-0 away at the Etihad. City kind of blew them away in the first half, but they still had opportunities. One in the Cup, then one away at Sunderland last weekend, making them most of set pieces. They then hit them on the break in the second half as well. They're averaging 1.41 goals per match, which is just above Tottenham. The same goals conceded as well. So you can get at this Fulham team as we've kind of shown with some of the goals that they have been conceding as of late. If you look at their home table, they are currently 10th in the Premier League, 7 wins at home, 2 draws, 4 defeats. But they have kind of got a bit of a guilty. We did a preview podcast on Only Tottenham. Please do go and watch that if you haven't already, with Henry Hill, Fulham fan, who I'm sure you guys know from the Football Joe quiz, and mine and Zach's podcast with him on a Thursday, Nothing But Football. Make sure to go and subscribe to that as well. He's kind of said they're playing some really nice football at the moment, but they're kind of guilty at points of not killing off games. And Spurs absolutely have to capitalise on that tomorrow. However, I am worried about the fluidity in their front line and the confidence that they're going to be playing with. Like, every team is going to feel themselves a little bit against Tottenham. I think from Henry's point of view, he was kind of saying with Fulham that they need to treat this as if they are playing one of the big boys, because I think they've given a lot of the big boys good games at home this season. Man City, they lost 5-4. They were good against Liverpool at home as well, like Man United away, as I said as well. Man United at home, they drew earlier on in the season, near the start of the season as well. So they kind of tend to raise it in these bigger games, and it's like he's almost a little bit fearful that they see what Tottenham are at the moment and not the gravity of the game, and almost take it a bit too easy. But there is a world in which they maybe kind of blow us away in the first half and we can't recover. But these are the changes that I would possibly make to the team. Now, this was the team that started the North London Derby last weekend with that sort of... It was a bit of a sort of 3-5-2 with Simmons kind of more as a 10, Gallagher a little bit deeper. I would like to change that. The first change that I would make, with Danso able to be selected back from injury, Pedro Porro as well, I would get them both straight back in. I know we've got a double game week this week, which is obviously, you know, you have to manage that. And obviously you have to manage players coming back from injury, the fitness levels and the thin squad that we've got at the moment. But these are 2 must-win... Well, if we get a point tomorrow and kind of go 5 points clear, at least we've gained a point, right? And away from home, if we play okay and get a point, I'm okay with that. And then use Palace on Thursday as a real springboard to kind of kick on if West Ham then drop points at Fulham. I don't know who Forest have actually got in the week. Let me just quickly have a look at that. Obviously, we'll talk about this later on in the week. As well. And Leeds, Leeds have got Forest have got City away on Wednesday. So again, if they lose that the day before we play, that's another opportunity that we have to absolutely seize and take advantage of. We've not done that well. Like, results have gone our way a little bit in the last couple of weeks. And I know Arsenal was obviously always going to be a difficult game, but this is a real opportunity this week to kind of peel away almost. Leeds have got they've got Sunderland on Tuesday. So a quick turnaround for them after, you know, a tough physical game tonight against Man City, which they are still losing. So the changes that I would make, I would probably take out Archie Gray. I would bring in Pedro Porro at right wing back. I would probably move João Paulinho into central midfield, although I think Basuma gives us sort of progression that we do need. So I wouldn't mind seeing Basuma stay in. So maybe I'll drop Paulinho to the bench, although playing against his old club, you know, it's he might sort of, and you know he's going to be up for it, Paulinho. So that's one that I'm kind of undecided over. So I'll leave both of them there for now. And let me know in the comments, would you start Paulinho or Basuma tomorrow? I would take out Radu Dragusin. I would bring Kevin Danso into the centre of the back 3. I would move Jed Spence over to right-sided centre-back, and I would play Sousa on that left-hand side. One of Paulinho or Basuma in midfield, then Mwani up top with Solanke. Where's Solanke gone? With Solanke as a front 2, and get Simmons in that kind of front 3 combining in behind them. Let's put Paulinho in there. Let's put Paulinho in there and go with this. But like I said, I'm still a little bit undecided because I think Basuma, I thought it was okay against Arsenal, and I think, you know, one thing that we massively struggled to do against Arsenal was kind of progress out from the back. But I think what this does do is give us a little bit more of the core of the tactics that Igor Tudor wants to implement in an ideal world for Spurs. He wants those centre-backs, those wide-channel centre-backs, to bomb on, carry the ball up the pitch. And I think having Spence at right-sided centre-back, especially with the fact that Porro will be tasked with a difficult 1v1 battle against Kevin down that side, gives him a little bit more security, because we know how strong Spence is defensively. Gives you a bit more height in that back line from set pieces as well with those 3 there. Gets Spence on his favoured side. And I think you've got to trust Sousa. If it doesn't work, then you can bring Dragusin on, bring Danso into this channel, and then put Dragusin at central centre-back. At least he's got a little bit more pace around him to kind of cover there. And I suppose if you're playing a kind of split striker formation, the holding of the width with Spencer on that left-hand side isn't as important, because you kind of want to get Simmons more into the 10. Obviously, kind of let him float out there and do what he wants. But that's kind of what... those are the 2 options for me, what I would go with. I think it gives us a little bit more in attack as well. Get Mwani and kind of Solanke combined. I would definitely keep Mwani in the team after his performance performance last week. You've got energy in midfield there in Paulinho and Sarr to kind of help you out with that. You know, there's like a lot of fluidity and movement to pick up. They've got good, strong ball carriers in that team as well, with the likes of Iwobi, who you're going to want to shut down when he's driving forward with it. Smith Rowe, I think, is that as well. Harry Wilson is very clever in the way that he picks up pockets, and maybe having Paulinho in there to help break up the play might be better. But let me know what you guys think. I'll keep Gallagher as an option off the bench to bring on later on for a bit more energy if we need it. Tell on the bench. The only thing is, obviously, we've got Richarlison back on the bench now available as well, which is good for Spurs as an option to be able to turn to later on. Obviously, with this as well, you can have Moani kind of drifting out into the wide channels. You know, I think, obviously, if he was to kind of do this, drift out over to the left and kind of have Simmons in the pocket sort of floating behind, you probably would want Sousa out at left wing back to allow Moani to get more into central areas. Although I think Moani at points this season has shown a decent ability to pick the ball up off the line and kind of dribble in, go at Tete. But this is what I would quite like to see. I think Danso coming back in is imperative, because I think those two, Porro and Danso, despite the fact that, you know, Porro had a poor run in the team up until that injury that he got, I still think he is a leader, and I think he will try. I think he will fight. I just think you're going to need that extra level of protection behind him when you've got someone like Kevin, who is a very good 1v1 threat, whether it is Danso helping him out in that channel. But I also think Danso at the back to help organise the back line, I think is going to be key. And I think Dragusin, despite the fact that I think he played okay in that first half against Arsenal, I think he got bullied a little bit. And I think if it can happen against Victor Gyökeres, obviously Jimenez is a very different style of striker, but I do worry a little bit about that. And I just trust Danso a little bit more. So I know it's a bit more out there, a bit more kind of maybe I don't think he's going to do this, but I would like to see that. Get Spencer, get Van der Ven pushing up the pitch, carrying the ball forward. You've got Danso back in that back line. You've got Paulinho that can kind of drop in as well to help out. Get Simmons one more player to help combine with him, because I think there was a lot of times against Arsenal where he was a little bit isolated on the ball and he was kind of running down blind alleys a little bit. Give him two players to play off and combine with ahead of him. We've got to be aggressive. We've got to attack this game tomorrow, and we've got to kind of go at them and show far more than we did against Arsenal in that second half. Obviously, different levels of quality between the two teams, despite the fact that Fulham are good at the moment. Van der Ven, I want to see a bit of a response from. I know, obviously, there's been chat in the week in the press conference. Tudor's kind of diffused the situation, saying that, you know, it was a misunderstanding and all that, and I do understand that. Maybe some of us did go a little bit hard on Van der Ven, but I don't think his performance was good enough either, really, in that second half. And I do think when you look at his body language, looks maybe a little bit, not disinterested, I think that's a little bit harsh, but checked out, or just lack of confidence at the moment, whatever it is. You know, the captain's armband without Romero, is that weighing a little bit too big on him at the moment? I'm not sure. I've kind of already spoken about that, but I don't think Van der Ven would have had as much stick as he has done in his Spurs career as he would have done in the last week or so. And I would like to see a bounce back and a response from him in that regard. So hopefully our big players can kind of step up tomorrow. Like I said, a point would be big with West Ham losing. 3 points would be massive with Leeds losing at the moment and West Ham losing. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with Forest yet, but that is the team that I would like to see set up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Show some support, hype the video. If you'd like to become a channel member, as I said, it's £5.99 a month for exclusive content. And I can't stress enough that nothing is changing on the main channel. Nothing is changing on the main channel. The frequency of upload, the content that you already get on there, that is not going. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the video we did with Fuad yesterday. Thank you, or Thursday, sorry. Thank you for all the support on that. The video's done well, and I think you guys enjoyed the collaboration. I want to do a lot more with that as well. Let me know other creators that you want to see me collab with on this channel, and also on my Ben Bowman football channel as well, which there'll be a review of the Man City Leeds game on after that. There was a review of the 3pms, lots of general football content coming, Champions League predictions. I haven't actually spoke about Spurs' Champions League run yet, or Champions League draw yet. I am actually going to go live later on tonight to kind of chat through a bit more generally, get your thoughts and feelings on the game as well tomorrow, and any other bits around Spurs this week. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, become a member if you'd like to. Go and subscribe to Ben Bowman Football as well. I've collabed with the channel on this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Drop me a score prediction as well. I'm going to go 1-1, but if we can get like a late winner or something like that, that'd be absolutely massive. I'm going to the game tomorrow. Hopefully see some of you guys there, and peace.